Hey guys, it's Mrs. Ritchie. Hope you had a nice weekend. I'm here to show you a tutorial for one of the two assignments that you're going to do this week. This is a tutorial for the cover letter assignment. If you don't know what a cover letter is, it's the letter that you send along with your resume when you're applying for a professional job. And if you don't know what a resume is, it's a listing of your education, qualifications, and interests that you send to an employer when you're looking for a professional job. So this is a cover letter, and it goes in the envelope with the resume. Kind of introduces yourself and tells the reader of the letter that you've enclosed a resume. So the first thing you're going to do is put your name, date, document name in the header. We've done that before. You double click in, double click out. Make sure your header is Times New Roman size 12, Control A, Times New Roman size 12. Okay, you can double click out. We do not use a header in the real world. Like I told you before, it's just for me. I like to have it up there so I can see your name, the date, and your assignment. When your header is in, the first thing you're going to do is set your margins. Here we go. File. File. Page setup. 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, and click OK. This is the, at the 2-inch margin mark, you're going to type the return address. This is the this is the address of the sender. The return address is the address of the sender. So this would be your address if you're sending a letter, followed by the date right under it. Then you quadruple space. It's a quadruple space is 4 enters. It will give you 3 blank line spaces. 1, 2, 3, and you start on the 4th. So that's a review from the last time. You have to make sure you count 1, 2, 3 blank line spaces. So it's a quadruple space. 4 enters gives you 3 blank line spaces. For every enter, you get 1 less blank line space. So a quadruple space is 4 enters, gives you 3 blank line spaces. A triple space, which we don't use here, but would give you 2 blank line spaces. And a double space would give you 1 blank line space, and a single space gives you no blank line spaces, which you probably already knew. So after you type the return address or the address of the sender, which is your address, you enter 4 times. It's going to give you 3 blank line spaces. Then you start typing the recipient's address, okay? And its name, title, if you know it, etc., etc. There's your recipient's address. After that, you double space 1 and 2. A double space will give you 1 blank line space. 1 less blank line space than the amount of times that you enter. So you have 1 blank line space here. Dear Mr. Navy, colon. Dear Mr. Navy is your salutation or your greeting. And, 90% of the time on a professional business letter, you're going to address the person as Mr. So-and-so or Ms. So-and-so, and a colon. Once in a blue moon, if you have a pretty friendly exchange with the person and it's someone you know relatively well, you could do like the last letter, Dear Julie, colon. But this one, it's because it's a cover letter and we're sending our resume to an employer, we definitely want to be as professional as we can. Dear Mr. Navy, colon, followed by a double space. It's going to give me that 1 blank line space again. Okay. Enclosed is my resume for your review. So right away in the first 4 words, enclosed is my resume. Ding, ding, ding. You need to put enclosure at the end. So there's a little sneak peek. So you type the first paragraph, a double space. It's going to give you 1 blank line space. Type the second paragraph, double space. It's going to give you 1 blank line space. Type the third paragraph, double space. It's going to give you 1 blank line space. Now it's time for your complimentary close. Okay, this is your salutation. This is your complimentary close, and 99% of the time in business, you're going to use the word sincerely, comma. You could, if you know the person really well, you could maybe say something like kind regards, comma, or regards, comma, but you can't go wrong with sincerely, comma. In fact, you guys know I use it all the time with you when I email you back. So sincerely, comma, that's your complimentary close. After sincerely, comma, you quadruple space. You only quadruple space 2 times in a letter. Right here, after your address, and right here, after the sincerely. It's going to give you 3 blank line spaces. 1, 2, 3. You've got to go and check those. When I looked at your letters, a lot of you didn't do that. You had 4 blank line spaces. Quadruple space, it's 4 enters, but it's 3 blank line spaces. Then you type your name. You leave this space right here. For when you print your letter, you always sign it in black ink. That's the recommended way to sign a letter is always with black ink. Blue ink is also acceptable, but black is the most professional. After you type your name, you double space again. It's going to give you 1 blank line space. And you're going to type the word enclosure because we know we're enclosing our resume in the envelope with the letter. Okay, oftentimes you're going to enclose tickets or an application or a birth certificate, a copy of a birth certificate. You would never enclose a real one. Anything along those lines, maybe a check. Anytime you're putting anything in the envelope with the letter, you use the word enclosure. Now, a lot of times, many times, we just send a letter with nothing in the envelope. If there's nothing in the envelope or no indication that there's anything going in the envelope with the letter, you just leave enclosure out. You just don't even deal with it. You don't type it. You just forget about it. Okay, guys, the last thing you have to do, and most of you forgot to do this on your other a couple letters that you've been working on. Very important. Control A. Control A. And you're going to go to, actually, you don't need to, Times New Roman. Times New Roman size 12, Control A, Times New Roman size 12 for the entire letter. Perfect. And now, format, line spacing, single. This is where you guys goofed up a lot. A lot of you left it at 1.5. That's a no-no. Format, line spacing, single. And we always want to check our custom spacing to make sure our line spacing is single. That's the one. And the spacing before and after our lines is always 0, 0. Apply. Format, line spacing, single, custom spacing, 0, 0. Apply. A lot of you didn't do that. It's important. You can do that right away. You don't have to wait until the end. Whenever you want to set it to single line spacing, you can go ahead and do that. So here's an example of our letter number 4. You're going to type this one up on your own. Check for formatting, count your line spaces, look for spelling errors and formatting errors before you turn it in. Watch the tutorial. Follow along with me if you want to, but that's the way you're going to get 100 on this, is to make sure you have no mistakes on it. And again, it's a letter. It should be error-free. Everything I taught you from day one is that everything we do in Emerging Tech should be error-free, because you don't want to send out a letter to an employer looking for a job and then there's a mistake on your letter. You're not going to get the job. You're not going to get hired. So you want to practice that now in my class. So this is an example, again, of a block format business letter. Everything's blocked up against the left-hand side, 2-inch top margin, Times New Roman in your header, just for me, and Times New Roman everywhere else. And your line spacing is single. And then you go to custom spacing. There's your single spacing, 0, 0, apply. All right, you're going to have one additional letter to do that I'm not going to give you a tutorial on, but it's the same directions. Have a great day, guys.